Good morning, and it's yours truly, Ken Sharp, the Chief Energizing Officer of WestProp Holdings, and we're sitting here at our head office today with a really exciting announcement and a special guest to tell you all about this. We're the company of many firsts, as you know, the billion brick vision by 2050, putting 1 billion bricks in the ground and bringing Zimbabwe many firsts. We have another one, an announcement to make that just last week we were approved by the Securities Exchange Commission of Zimbabwe to have a Reit, a real estate investment trust, for our beautiful brand new apart hotel, which is that picture behind me, 147 rooms, studios, 1 bedroom and the 3-bedroom penthouse in Borrowdale, for our residents, for our customers, for our investments, for investors to come and really participate for the first time in a product that's really affordable. For as little as $500 per unit, you can own a part of this beautiful hotel. So Mike, tell us about this Reit. What does it mean?
A Reit, a real estate investment trust, basically is a trust controlled through a notarial deed and a trustee that allows the participation of individual investors and of a smaller nature to purchase units, and that trust itself will own the asset. In this case, as you've mentioned, the hotel apartment Reit above.
So Mike, let's simplify things for the general public. You talk of the trust, you talk of this Reit, it sounds really complicated. Just make it simple for us to understand. What is the asset you're talking about and how does this work?
Thanks, Ken. The asset I'm talking about is a world-leading class apartment block in a building that the trust will acquire and then offer units through a participation scheme of $500 a unit, where investors will then own a part of that trust, which is then entitled to achieve income from the tariffs or the bills paid by the clients once they hire out an apartment on a per night basis.
So what you're saying is there's visitors that come to the hotel,
Yes.
pay for their room, and then that money after costs gets distributed to all the shareholders.
That's correct. So it's an after-cost situation, and one of the benefits of a Reit is that it's totally tax-free in terms of income.
Right. So this is rental that becomes tax-free to the shareholders.
Correct, and to the actual trust itself. So the tariffs paid by the client goes into the operating entity. Costs are deducted from it, and then of that, the remaining after cost pool, if we could put it that way, is then dispersed, 80% thereof.
Right. So what can someone expect? Like, how do you get into this, and what is the way out? You know, It's easy to invest, but it's always the question, how do you get out of it?
Right. We have a magnificent sales and marketing team at WestProp, and Noro Asset Management itself, through myself and my colleagues, also offer this to you, the unit. We're widespread in terms of who we're offering to, and we're opening the doors to a new sector within the market, the smaller scale person that can't afford to create a property portfolio of his own. So entering the Reit or the trust gives him the advantage of the benefit of a legacy investment that will hold its value and return great returns to him over time.
So we're saying someone with $500 or more could come into this ownership vehicle, participate equally to everyone else, pro rata basis of course, but benefit from the same amount of return that anyone investing $1 million, or $100,000 or as little as a $500 investment would have the same benefit proportionally.
Correct, Ken. It's a per rata basis to the unit, not to the quantum. And as mentioned, that allows the smaller investor to come in and participate in the larger ticket items such as property.
So we know property stores value. It's probably the best store value, and we've seen in Zimbabwe in the last 5-10 years how that value has increased exponentially over time. 5 times. We've heard just this morning, I was speaking to someone telling me about a property 2009 they bought, and it's increased 5 times in a middle class area. So here in Borrowdale, where we're building this really beautiful building, what kind of safety mechanism? So how do people get assured that owning $500 of a unit is the same safety of owning an entire apartment?
Well, Ken, as mentioned, the actual unit is a participation in a trust, and the trust owns the actual asset, the building itself.
So the title deed sits with the trust?
With the trust, exactly right.
But then isn't the question, who's the trustees? Because a trust is as good as the trustees.
Correct. We have as our trustee.
By the way, a declaration, I'm not a trustee.
I sit on the board of trustees, but I've recused myself. A trustee in this case is Creston Trustee Services. Creston is one of the top 5 in the world. We're lucky enough to have them in Zimbabwe, and they have taken our project on with very much interest and enthusiasm. So in closing, I'd like to welcome you, the investors, the unit holders, into Seatrite 5 Trust.
You've heard it from the horse's mouth. In this highly regulated industry of REITs, we can guarantee you as WestProp that your money is safe.